Anyway, so that is okay. So let us just revise some of the definitions related to the connected spaces, and mainly I will discuss examples today. So we have discussed this particular example that if I have a set A which is close interval 0 1 union open close interval 2 3, and we consider this as a subset of R, then as a subset of R, first of all we will consider the subspace topology, and with respect to the subspace topology this set is disconnected because we will find two non-trivial open subsets of A which are disjoint and its union is A, so that is a separation of this set. So subspace topology, we can find many examples of disconnected spaces. So what about connectedness? So this is one result that if I have a continuous function f from capital X to capital Y, and if the domain space capital X is connected, then its image will be connected space. So this briefly this result is known as continuous image of the connected space is always connected. So range is always connected for a given continuous function. And if the function is onto, then we know that range will be whole codomain capital Y, fx will be capital Y, and in that case capital Y will be connected space whenever f is a continuous function from x to y which is onto. So that we have seen in the case of homeomorphism. And we have seen some useful results to prove a subspace, a topological space is disconnected or not. So this is one of the results, that if I can find a continuous function from the topological space X to the set of 0 and 1, where on the set 0 1 is a finite set, so on which we have a discrete topology. So if I can find such a continuous function which is on 2, then the topological space is disconnected. And so this is regarding the first lecture on connected spaces. In the previous lecture, we have discussed what is a topological property. So topological property, which is a property on a topological space, is X is it is defined. Such property is preserved under the continuous function or under the homeomorphism. So the example which we discuss is the connectedness, that is a topological property. So whenever I take a continuous function f from x to y which is bijective and its inverse is continuous, and if I pose the condition of connectedness on the domain x, as an output I will get the connectedness of the codomain. So therefore the connectedness is preserved from x to y, from domain to codomain, if I consider the homeomorphism. So that is meaning of the topological property, and we check that connectedness is a topological property. And then we have considered the product space of x and y, and we have seen the analog of vertical line and horizontal line. They are the sets small x cross capital Y and capital X cross small y. So they are analog of horizontal and vertical line in the product space. So what we observed first is that both of these sets as a subset of x cross y are connected. So whenever I fix a point A of capital X and I consider small a cross capital Y, then small a cross capital Y is a connected subspace of X cross Y. So subspace means we are considering subspace topology on that set as a subset of X cross Y, and on X cross Y we have a product topology. So this is the basically the homeomorphism f of ay going to y. So we have shown that this function is nothing but the composition of projection and inclusion map. So it is continuous and it is bijective. It is a its inverse is also continuous, and later on we use that. Later on, we use this result that this set is connected to prove that x cross y is connected. So result is that if x and y are connected topological spaces, and if I consider x cross y and x cross y, we have a product topology. On x cross y, we can define many topologies. For example, discrete topology also we can define. But here we are considering the product topology on x cross y, and with respect to that topology, it is a connected topological space. So as a special case of this result, as a corollary, we can take x is equal to r and y is equal to r. So what we will get is x cross y is a connected space. So what is x cross y in this case is r2. So basically by assuming r is connected, we will get that r2 is connected topological space with respect to the product topology. And on R, if I take a standard topology, then the product topology on R2 is also the standard topology generated by open unit disk. Right, open disk, the topology on R2 generated by open disk is a product topology. So that is what we have, that is nothing but the standard topology on R2. So with respect to that topology, R2 is connected topological space. So this small result is coming as a corollary of this theorem. So let us write down that if we take x equal to y equal to r with the standard topology, then by applying above theorem, we get that x cross y is connected. So what is x cross y? X cross y here is nothing but r2. With respect to the product topology on R2, and what is product topology on R2? It is the standard topology. So we will get R2 is connected using this theorem, and by induction we can generalize this theorem for x1 cross x2 cross so on xn, and in that case we will get as a special case Rn is connected topological space. So today we will see some examples of different connected as well as disconnected spaces. So let us take first example, that if I consider the set of rational numbers which is denoted by q, then is Q connected with respect to the subspace topology on Q as a subset of R? So this is the question. So first thing is that we have to fix the topology on R, and that will give us a subspace topology on Q. So usually on R we consider the standard topology, right? So now what is the topology on Q as a subset of R? So that is the subspace topology, and the subset of Q which are open in the subspace topology on Q if they are intersection of Q with the open subset of R in the standard topology. So that is coming by the definition of subspace topology. So what we will do is we will try to prove that this set Q is disconnected. So to prove a topological space is disconnected, we have to find some function on that topological space Q which takes values in 0 and 1. So that is, we are applying that theorem which we have proved that if X is a disconnected space, if I can find a function f from x2 0 1 which is onto, and it is continuous function, right? So let us try if we can find such a function or not. That is a different issue. So let us try this particular function. So what we will do is we know that on the real line we have a rational numbers, also we have a irrational numbers. So what we will do is we will fix some irrational number a. So a is some fixed irrational number. A is some fixed irrational number. Using that we are defining a function f. So actually f depends on a, and f is defined as fx equal to 0 if x is greater than a. So what is x? X is element of Q. So x is basically it is a rational number, right? X belongs to Q, so it is a rational number. So on a given rational number x, when I apply f, it becomes 0 if x is greater than a. So in particular you can take a equal to pi, let us say, right? So now it is fixed.
So
what is
A is fixed or some random number?
Yes, a is fixed. A is a given fixed irrational number. So let us say we are actually fixing a equal to pi, it doesn't matter. So even I can modify this function also for a better understanding. So only thing, everything will change based on this. So we can take, let us say it is greater than pi and it is greater than less than pi. So fx is 0 if my rational number x is greater than pi, and fx is 1 if x is less than pi. Now this function is well defined because every rational number, you choose any rational number x, then x will be either greater than pi or it will be less than pi, right? Because it cannot be pi because pi is a irrational number, right? So now the function, I hope it is clear that how it is defined. So now we want to show that this function is onto continuous function. So that is our claim. F is onto continuous function. So clearly the function is onto because let us say if I find f of 4, then 4 is greater than pi, so its value is 0. And if I take any rational number which is less than pi, so let us say f of 0, then it is 1 because x is less than pi, so fx is 1. So this will give us f is onto this set. Now what next we want to show is f is a continuous function. So to prove f is a continuous function, there are many ways. You can even take the sequences also, and you can prove that. But in topology, usually we prove that inverse image of open set is open, and then we are satisfied with that. So most of the cases it works, that definition. So on 0, 1 we have a discrete topology because it is a finite set. So of course on a finite set we can define topology in different ways, but usually we take discrete topology. So with respect to discrete topology on 0, 1, we know that in discrete topology all the subsets are open sets. So here the topological space has two elements on which we are defining discrete topology. So all the subsets of two element sets are 2 power 2. So there are only 4 subsets of 0, 1. One is null set, that is open. The whole set 0, 1 is open. Singleton 0 is open, and singleton 1 is also open. So these are the 4 open sets, open subset of 0, 1 in the discrete topology. So we want to show that inverse image of each of these open sets is open, then f is a continuous function. If you want to use basis criteria, then the basis for this set is singleton 0, singleton 1. That will be the basis in the discrete topology. So if you check f inverse singleton 0 is open, f inverse singleton 1 is open, then f is continuous. Using basis criteria also we can do that. So let us find what is f inverse of singleton 0. So by the definition, all the points which map to 0 are the points greater than pi. So I will not change everywhere. I will just use the notation a is pi here, right? So below wherever I have written a, that means it is pi. So what is f inverse 0? F inverse is 0 are the rational numbers which are greater than a. That means they are greater than pi. And this set now we can write as q intersection all the numbers greater than a. That means in the interval a to infinity. Right. So this set is exactly this set as a subset of R. And then we know that any such set which is pi to infinity, this is an open interval. So it is an open subset of the real line. So if I have a set which is open, and if I take its intersection with Q, then this set will be open in the subspace topology on Q. Right? By the definition of the subspace topology. What are the subsets which are open on Q? They are the intersection of Q with the open subsets on the original space R. So f inverse 0 is open. The same way we can show that f inverse 1 is also open, because what is f inverse 1? So x such that fx is 1. X such that fx is 1 are the rational numbers which are less than pi. So that is nothing but q intersection. Now all the numbers less than pi, so it will be minus infinity to pi. And this is again open set. So therefore this set is open in the subspace topology. Therefore f inverse 1 is open in the subspace topology on Q. So f inverse singleton 0 is open, inverse singleton 1 is open. Therefore f inverse 0, 1 is open. So this is basically f inverse of y is open. and F inverse of phi is open. So as we have discussed that on 0 comma 1 discrete topology is only this sets, and we have checked that inverse image of every set, sorry, it is 0 comma 1. Inverse image of every set in this discrete topology is open under F. So therefore F is continuous function. And now we have a continuous function which is onto from x to 0 comma 1. That means our domain is disconnected. So if our domain is connected, then its image under continuous function will be connected, but 0 comma 1 is disconnected in the discrete topology. Therefore Q is disconnected space. So this is the first example. Today we have discussed that the set of all rational numbers as a subspace topology is a disconnected space. So similarly, we can discuss some simple examples which is disconnected or not. So let x equal to, we are taking singleton A, singleton B.
Sir,
Yes.
In the above example, if you took a general element of power set of 0, 1, then we cannot prove at that path that if we can't choose some particular 0 set, particular singleton 1.
So can you repeat what is your question again?
Sir, I want to say that we can also prove that via selecting an arbitrary element from power set of 0, 1, then suppose this is.
See, f is continuous function from x to y. How we prove? There are two ways only. Either you prove inverse image of every open set is open, or you prove inverse image of basis element is open in the domain. So these are the two conditions which we verify, then only our function will become continuous. So what we are saying is you take any arbitrary subset of 0 comma 1. So that is exactly what we have verified. We have taken any arbitrary subset, but actually what are the subset of 0 comma 1? There are only 4 subsets. And actually we have verified, these 4 subsets are not the arbitrary subsets of 0 comma 1. They are actually the open subsets of 0 comma 1. So therefore we have verified only the inverse image of the open sets which are which should be open in the domain. We will not check every subsets of codomain. We will check only the inverse image of the open subsets of the codomain. But here, because it is a discrete topology, every subset is open. In general, it may not be that case. Right. So for example, let us see the next example. So in that case, again we have a 2 element set. But now the topology I am considering in this two element set is not the discrete topology. Right? Because if I consider the discrete topology on X, then there should be singleton B, which is not in tau. So tau is not the discrete topology on X. So if I want to, if I define a function which takes values in this capital X, then to show that function is continuous, I have to check only that f inverse phi is open, f inverse singleton A is open, and f inverse X is open. Because these three are the only sets which are open in the codomain, capital X. So this continuity is mainly checking the inverse image of open set is open. So now in this example, actually what we want to show here, the question is again the same. that I am given a topological space X with this topology tau, and with respect to this topology, whether this topological space X is connected or not. Right? So question is X connected with respect to tau? So answer is we don't know. So we have to find using some way, either by the direct definition. So definition start with the separation, or we have to try to construct a function which takes values in 0 1, and if we can find a continuous onto function in f from x to 0 1, then if I can find a function, then x is disconnected. If I cannot find the function, then we cannot say anything. So let us start by the definition for this example, because in this example we know all the open sets. So suppose I'm assuming this set is disconnected. So if it is disconnected, then there is a separation u1 comma u2, which is a separation of x. So then u1 and u2 are proper subsets of x by the definition of separation. What is the definition of separation? X equal to u1 union u2, and u1 and u2 are non-empty disjoint open subsets of x. So by the definition of separation u1 u2, u1 and u2 are proper subsets, and whose union is x. So u1 and u2 are open subsets. That means u1 and u2 both belongs to tau, and its union is x. So its union is a comma b. So question is, what are the proper subsets of x in the topology? So that is the first question. So we see the topology, there are only three sets, phi, x and singleton a. So there is only one proper subset, that is a singleton a. So if I want to choose two proper subsets u1 and u2 from this topology, and u1 and u2 are disjoint, then trivially we can't do that by looking at the topology itself. Right? Because there is no two different proper subsets of this topology. So let us try to do this by a simple argument. What I have explained we can do in a different way also. So I want to choose two proper subsets of x, and there is only one proper subset. So let us, without loss of generality, assume u1 is singleton a. Right? Because for u1 there is no other choice, because only one proper subset we have which is open other than phi and x in the topology. So if I consider u1 is singleton a or u2 is singleton a, then by the property that u1 and u2 is a separation, u1 union u2 is x. So therefore u2 is complement of u1 and u1 is complement of u2. So if u1 u2 is separation and u1 is singleton a, then u2 will be complement of singleton a, that is singleton b. Because what is x? X is a comma b, and if I remove singleton a from that, then what I will have is singleton b only. So u2 will be singleton b if u1 union u2 is x. But in that case, singleton b is not in tau. So this is a contradiction. Right? So singleton b is not in tau. So basically u2 is not in tau if u1 u2 is a separation. So u2 is not open. So therefore what we get is, I have assumed that x has a separation u1 u2, and then we proved that I cannot find u2 whatever I take u1. So therefore, there is no such pair U1 and U2 which satisfy the property that U1 U2 are proper non-empty disjoint sets whose union is X. So therefore, there is no separation possible on X with respect to this particular topology. So now if X has no separation, that means X is connected by the definition of connected topological space. If I have a separation, then topological space is disconnected, and I have no separation, that means the topological space is connected space. So this is a example which is connected and it is a topological space on the finite set. So if on X, if I consider discrete topology, then it is a disconnected space because singleton A union singleton B is X, and singleton A, singleton B both are open subsets of X. So therefore X is disconnected with respect to discrete topology. But with respect to this particular topology, it is a connected space. So these are just some simple examples. So now I want to discuss some one or two basic results, and then maybe we will stop. So first result is that if X is disconnected, and so X is a given, it is given that X is a disconnected topological space, and U1 U2 is a separation of X, because if X is disconnected, there must be a separation U1 comma U2. And in this disconnected space X, if I consider a subset A of X which is connected, so X is disconnected, but if a subset A of X is connected, then what we will get is A is either subset of U1, or A is either subset of U2. What is U1 U2? U1 and U2 is a separation of X. So what is happening here is I have a bigger space X which is disconnected. So it has a separation U1 and U2 whose union is X. They are disjoint open subsets of X. And then suppose I have a connected subset A of X, then A is always either belongs to U1 or it belongs to U2. So that is the meaning of this lemma. So let us try to prove this result. So note that U1 and U2 is a separation, so they are disjoint open subsets of X. So U1 and U2 are disjoint open subsets of X, and its union is X. So that is meaning of the separation. So now since U1 and U2 are open, A intersection U1 and A intersection U2 are open subsets of A in the subspace topology. So once we have open set, we can find open subsets in the subspace topology. So what is the special property of these two open subsets? Let us verify whether they form a separation or not. So first of all, we will check that whether this set is empty set or non-empty set. So there are two cases. This is a given arbitrary set, whether it is a null set or it is a not null set. So if it is a null set, then that means what? If I have a set whose intersection with I have X, which is divided into U1 and U2, and if I know that A intersection U1 is null set and A is subset of X, so that means A is obviously contained here in the U2, right? Because U1 union U2 is X and A is a subset of X. So in this case, it is clear that if A intersection U1 is null set, then it belongs to this set. Now for this set, there is another possibility that if it is a not null set. So if it is not null set, then that means what? That means it actually intersects with U1, right? It intersect with U1 because it is a null set. Intersection is a null set. So in this case, again, if this is true, then we are done. A is a subset of U2. But if A is not in U2, that means A intersection U2 is also null set. Even in this case also, the intersection is also null set. So now in this case, what we have is A intersection U1 is null set, A intersection U2 is null set. So what we get is we will get two open subsets which are non-empty sets. This is non-empty, this is non-empty. And since U1 union U2 is X, since U1 union U2 is X, what we will get is A intersection U1 union A intersection U2 is A, right? And both of these are non-empty open sets. So what we get is we will get a separation of A. What is the separation? Separation is AU intersection U1 intersection U2. So these both sets are open, non-empty subsets of A, and its union is the set A. So using separation of X, we got a separation of A. But what is our assumption? Our assumption is that A is a connected topological space. So now we get a contradiction.
So sir, can you please repeat? Means I didn't get.
Yeah, so I can repeat, but you can also go through the video again later on. Because I don't think this is that much difficult. Just we are using set theory. So what we have done is we have started with the separation of the set capital X, and using that what we are doing is we have found a separation of A. And since A is connected, so we get a contradiction. So how did we get a contradiction? We assume this thing, intersection U2 is not null set. And then we got a contradiction. So this assumption is wrong, and that will give us the intersection U2 is a null set. And A intersection U2 is null set, that will give us that A is a subset of U1. So go through this argument again. In case you have any doubt, you can ask me in the next lecture.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Fine. So let us go back again for in the statement, because we will use it in the next result also. So if X is a disconnected space and U1 comma U2 is a separation of X, and if I have a subset of X on which we are defining subspace topology, so that is a subspace of X which is connected, then that connected space is either contained in the U1 or it is contained in U2. It cannot contain in both of them. So let us try to use this result and prove this theorem. So this theorem is regarding that. So here we have taken only one connected subset of the disconnected space in the lemma. But this theorem says that if I have a collection of open subsets of given topological space X, and it has a common endpoint, it has a common point, so then its union is also connected. Its union is also connected. So first of all, we are assuming again in this theorem that X is here also X is disconnected. So given space X is disconnected, it has a separation, and instead of a single connected subspace of X, we are taking a family of connected subspaces of X. Then we want to show that this topological the union of all these subspaces which has a common point, that is a connected subspace. So let A alpha be a we are considering to be a collection of subsets of X, right? And what is given is they have a common endpoints. That means when I take the intersection of A alpha, I will have a point which is common. So for example, suppose I have two sets. So instead of taking A1, A2, A alpha, suppose I have a two sets, A1 and A2, which has a common point P. This is my X. Then can I show A1 union A2 is connected if A1 and A2 are connected? So that is this result. So I have a collection A alpha, arbitrary collection A alpha of subsets of X. Each A alpha is connected, and P is common point in every A alpha. So P belongs to intersection of A alpha. So that means basically the intersection of A alpha is a non-empty set because it contains P. And what is the claim? Claim is that this union is connected. So that is what we want to prove. So suppose that union is disconnected, right? Suppose union is disconnected. So since union is disconnected and has a separation u1 comma u2, so what we will get is union is disconnected and it has separation u1 comma u2. So actually we are considering the disconnected space X to be union A alpha. So that extra condition I have mentioned is not necessary actually. So X can be any topological space. Here we don't need, X is disconnected. So we want to prove, once again, we want to prove union A alpha is disconnected. So first we are assuming union A alpha is, we want to prove it is connected, we are assuming it is disconnected, and we will find the contradiction. So since it is disconnected, it has a separation, as in the case of last lemma, we need a topological space which has a separation. And then we will take a subset of this set which is connected. So each A alpha is a subset of union A alpha, and each A alpha is connected. Right? So since union A alpha is disconnected, it has a separation, and since P belongs to each A alpha, P belongs to U1 and U1 union U2 also, and therefore either therefore P belongs to U1 or P belongs to U2. It can also belong to both of them, but it will be belongs to at least one of them. So without loss of generality, we will assume that P belongs to U1. This case is similar to this case, right? Argument will be similar. So that is what we are assuming. Now P belongs to the intersection of A alpha. That means P belongs to A alpha for every alpha by the definition of intersection. And P also belongs to U1. So A alpha is a connected subset of union A alpha. Union A alpha has a separation U1 comma U2. So by the previous lemma, A alpha will be either belongs to U1 or A alpha will be belongs to U2, right? So by previous lemma, either A alpha belongs to U1 or A alpha belongs to U2. But now since P belongs to U1, P cannot belongs to U2 because U1, U2 is a separation of X. So they are disjoint sets. So P belongs to U1, then P cannot be in U2. And P also belongs to U alpha. So therefore we will get A alpha is a subset of U1. A alpha cannot be subset of U2 because P is not in U2 and P belongs to A alpha. So I have a point which is in A alpha and that point is also in U1, then A alpha cannot be in U2 because we have already mentioned that P is not in U2. So A alpha had two choices, either it is in U1 or it is in U2, but depending on this fact, we have concluded that A alpha belongs to U1. And this is true for every alpha, right? Because alpha is arbitrary. Let us go back again. So P is in the intersection means P belongs to A alpha in every alpha. So therefore what we will get is and P is also in U1. So that will force every alpha A alpha belongs to U1. This is true for every alpha. And A alpha belongs to U1 for every alpha. That means union of A alpha belongs to U1. And that will give us that U2 is a non-empty set. Why? Because union A alpha is U1 union U2. But then using this we have proved that union alpha is contained in U1 itself. And U1 intersection U2 is null set. If this set is union of two sets and it is contained in one of the set and these two sets are disjoint, that means the other set is null set. And this set cannot be null set because U1 and U2 is a separation. So the sets in the separation are non-empty sets. So that is a contradiction. So union A alpha is always connected. So this contradiction came because we have assumed that union alpha is a disconnected space. But that is a contradiction. So this is what we have discussed. So this also gives another proof that R2 is connected. So for example, if I take x equal to R2, then we know that vertical and horizontal lines are connected spaces, connected subsets of R2. And if any we know from the real analysis that if I have two lines passing through origin, then I can find a continuous function which maps one line to another line. So that means every line passing through origin are homeomorphic to each other, and we have shown that vertical line passing through origin is connected subset of R2. So every homeomorphic line passing through origin also subset of R2. So when I take a union of all lines passing through origin, then I will get the whole space R2, and that gives that so 0 will be common in all the lines passing through origin. If I take intersection of all lines passing through origin, that is a single point P, which is the origin. So if I take union of all lines passing through origin, then this is connected from this theorem, previous theorem, and this is nothing but actually R2. So this is a small proof which is coming from a homeomorphism. So I think let me stop here today lecture.